It's Kontos, World Series champ, of course. Co-host on Giants pre- and post-game last night with Laura Britton. Of course, Sergio Romo, who is making his debut. We'll get to that in just a second. But, George, right off the rip, good morning to you. Good to see you back on the TV or on television screens here. Logan Webb, another solid start. Last 4 starts, he's got 7, 7, 7, and 8. And I'll just ask you point blank right now, is he the best pitcher in the National League?
Well, good morning, gentlemen, and I think that you nailed it right in the head. I mean, this guy is kind of hit mid-season form earlier than anybody would have expected right out of the gate, and he just looks great. He's mixing all of his pitches, he's throwing strikes, and he's staying out of the middle of the plate. I mean, he had 15 ground ball outs last night. From a guy like Logan Webb, you can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I'm looking at the way he throws, too. Like, again, I'm coaching at the youth level, and everything's about maxing out. You know, how far can you hit it? How hard can you throw? How many times can you throw max over and over and over and over again? And he just feels like such a throwback player. He goes deep into games. He logs a ton of innings. He's throwing the changeup 40% of the time. The sinker, it doesn't feel very max effort-like. He has crazy movement. Like, to me, he's the template moving forward for baseball. If I'm trying to mold my pitching staff into somebody, I feel like we don't talk enough about him from like a national level.
Well, you know, the thing with Logan Webb is that's just kind of how he came up throwing. He had that little bit of the low slotted 3/4, and he realized that he had movement, and he just kind of embraced who he is as a pitcher. And that's the thing with guys that throw like Logan does. And we heard Bob Melvin say it in his post-game interview last night when one of the questions was asked, are you worried that Logan is rolling so well right now with his workload, with his innings limit? And he said Logan is not a max effort guy. He's not trying to throw 97, 98 every pitch. He understands the kind of pitcher he is, and that's a guy that's going to get you with movement, changing speeds, and deception. I mean, that changeup is the best changeup in baseball because it looks like a two-seam, like a sinker. So it comes out of the hand looking exactly like the guy's going to have to commit to 92, and then it's 88, bottoming out with 5-6 more inches of drop on it.
No, it's nasty. Right now, he's got a scoreless streak of 19 innings. The Giants have won 2 in a row. The Mets have lost 3 straight. They went 5-1 last night. So it's good to have Logan Webb there looking like an ace, pitching like an ace, and you have no worries when it's Logan Webb day. Now, Blake Snell day is today, 12:45, and the Giants are going for the sweep. And I'm not going to panic over Blake Snell. His first 3 starts have been rocky. Let's just start there. Is it just due to the fact that he's had no spring training? Is that what you're seeing so far, George, with Blake?
That's definitely part of the reason. He signed late, obviously, and there's no doubt that he was getting himself going while waiting to sign somewhere. But when you sign that late in the spring training, you don't get to go through the same kind of routine that you would in a normal year. You don't get to come and meet your new teammates, and guys, you know, assimilate and get along real quick when you get into a new clubhouse. But there's still that little bit of kind of getting your bearings, figuring out your surroundings, new people, new organization, new threads on every time you take the mound. And he's always been, historically, a slow starter. His month of April ERA is 5.40 in his career. So obviously it's a little bit bloated from that right now. But Blake Snell is not a guy that I'm worried about because the fastball velocity has been there. The crispness on his pitches, while it hasn't been as consistent as we'd like, we've seen him throw some really good curveballs, some really good sliders and changeups. I'm not worried about him, but I would like him to hop on that horse a little bit sooner than later. And I think it's coming because when you watch a guy like Logan Webb go do what he's been doing, and then you got to file that up every day, there's no way that you want to go out there and giving up 5-6 runs.
You know, our producer here he's like, oh, but Jordan Montgomery looks better earlier. Is that, like, did one of the two do something different? You reference obviously being a slow starter for Blake Snell because historically that's what he's been. I mean, even last year it wasn't even close to the 3/4 of the way till down the stretch. Is Jordan Montgomery doing anything different that Blake Snell didn't leading up to that first outing?
No, they're not. I mean, this is just the way that they go about their business, right? They're two very different types of pitchers. Jordan Montgomery had this mindset, and he even came out and said it, that I'm going to go out there in my first start at the big league level. I'm just going to work on fastball command. And that's just the way that he wanted to do it. Blake Snell is a guy who, we heard him say it in his first interview with Alex Pavlovich when he signed with the Giants, and everyone was worried about his walks and this and that, and he's pitched. He's like, hey, man, this is the kind of pitcher that I am. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to challenge. I'm not going to give guys, free passes down the middle for them to hit me. I'm going to make them earn it. And we also have seen that when he does get a little bit rocky with his command, and he will walk guys, we know that for a fact, he can get out of it because his stuff is that nasty. So it's just one of those things that this is just how these guys get ready. The stuff has been there. We've seen 98 on the radar gun. A guy like Jordan Montgomery can't get away with throwing kind of pitches middle up with that velocity because he doesn't have it. So he needs to work on his two-seam away, his fastballs in. His location is first and foremost in his mind, and just getting ready for their starts and their seasons. Blake Snell is just worried about how he feels in his sequencing.
I've been blown away at how great Jordan Hicks looks. I mean, this is another guy taking a little off. I mean, he throws hard as hell, but the way he's painting all the corners and he's got the downward movement, I think Jordan Hicks has been one of the best values in free agency all year, and I feel like no one's talking about it.
Well, he's when we have seen him in the past, it's been as a closer coming in some very high leverage situations. So we're not going to see those 103, 104s out of him in this role because the bulk load, the volume of work is just so much greater, and it just wouldn't be sustainable. But the fact that he has understood very quickly how to transition from a hard-throwing one-inning reliever to a guy that has to go out there and last 5, 6, hopefully 7 innings down the stretch. And he's done such a great job of throttling. He'll throw fastballs at 92, 93, 94, and then he'll throw 98, 99 when he gets into a jam. So he's done such a great job. The only thing that is of any concern to me is the innings that he potentially will throw this year, because last year he threw in the 60s. The most he's ever thrown is 78 2/3. And jumping from that type of inning workload to, let's say, 150 or 160 is a huge jump. And I'm not saying that he's not capable of doing it. He's a strong guy and he knows his body. It's just something that you don't see happen very often.
No, that's something I'm going to be looking for now as we're talking to George Kontos, former World Series chef, I should say, with the Giants. Of course, now on NBC Sports Bay Area, Giants pre- and post-game, looking dapper as always. Was next to Sergio Romo yesterday, and alongside the great and lovely, the queen of the morning roast, Laura Britton. That's a great point about Jordan Hicks. With that said, Keaton Winn. And I'm glad Keaton Winn got the win on Monday night, George, because he's been slept on this season. He's as a number 5 starter. Going 5 innings, going 6 innings, and he's kept the Giants basically in every single game. Not getting the credits, not going to get the headlines, but Keaton Winn, man, he deserves some loves here, man. He's had a really good April so far for the Giants.
Oh man, he deserves a ton of love. I mean, his 2 starts in Florida were fantastic, and he just built off of it the other day, coming here back to Oracle Park, and he threw into the 7th inning, and he said that was the first time that he's done that since A-ball. So the confidence that he's pitching with is incredible. I mean, you've seen it. He's got that mid to upper 90s fastball with what is statistically the best split in baseball. And, the thing that he's going to have to really work on as the league starts seeing him more is, as good as that split is, he's going to have to start protecting it. And he's going to learn as he goes, and guys are going to start laying off of it a little bit. But when you can throw wiffle ball splits that start middle up and end at the bottom of the zone, and guys swing through them like they don't know what's coming, that's how you know it's real nasty.
Yeah, and Gosman was real effective with that splitter here, made him a lot of money. John Burkett many years ago. It's a very effective pitch, and I think he's really mastered it. I'm looking around the diamond right now. There's a lot of great stories. I mean, Nick Ahmed has been everything I wanted at shortstop defensively, but the offense has been like crazy good. 2-strike hitting with runners in scoring position. I'm blown away. I hope it sustains. I'm looking at Conforto. He's had a really nice start. And then Lamont Wade Jr. looks fantastic. What's your favorite story offensively or defensively for the Giants for the everyday players?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that in my opinion, from watching these games, at least, they've been a little bit kind of helter-skelter, peak and valley-ish. They'll score a ton, then they'll kind of go a few games earlier in the season where you're kind of like, what's going on? Where'd the offense go? But as of late, they've looked a lot better ever since they got home, outside of that 17-1 debacle that Arizona put on them. But Michael Conforto has come out the gate looking really good. He looks fully healthy and very comfortable at bat. Matt Chapman's at-bats have gotten better. Tyro Estrada got a couple knocks yesterday. And all these guys are starting to Jung-Hoo Lee, how can you forget about him? They're all starting to hit their stride, and we're seeing what the potential of this lineup could look like when everyone's rolling at the same time. And I think once the other marquee bat of the offseason gets it going and starts getting consistently better at bats than Jorge Soler, this lineup is really deep, and we've seen the damage that it can do.
Speaking of deep, George, you're on social media, and you see how many people crush Mike Yastrzemski, but nobody wants to give Yaz any credit when he does something well. 3 RBIs yesterday. I'm all about being an equal opportunity employer, George. You know me. I show love. You deserve love. You get love.
He takes every angle, George.
Last 15 days, Yaz batting .321, a homer, only 4 strikeouts. Let's not dump on him so quickly, George. You know how this stuff works. Everybody freaking out in the first 2 weeks like we don't have 161 games. Look out for Yaz. He's now batting .208, Georgie.
Yes.
Hey, Yaz has proven over the course of his career as a Giant that he's a true professional. He knows what to do. He knows how to get it done. And, sometimes when you're hitting the ball hard and it gets caught or you feel like you're putting together good at bats and you have no reward, nothing to show for it, that can get grinding on you mentally. And sometimes all you need is to see a little flare fall and to be on base, or to see your batting average go up, even if it's from .083 to 125, whatever that is. That can breed confidence. And when you go and up to the plate, in between the ears confidently and start putting together better at bats, that's all that he needed. And we talked to him yesterday in the postgame after his great performance on the field, and he even said it. He goes, man, I've been working with Patty Burrell just trying to keep things simple. When you're grinding and when you're struggling, you try and do too much because you want to try anything you can to fix something as quickly as possible. A lot of times, though, all you got to do is just take that deep breath, let the pitches come to you, and he seemed to have done that. And hopefully he's on the up and up. They can get things going the way that he has in the past, because this is a team that's going to need a guy like Mike Yastrzemski performing at the level he's capable of.
Patty Burrell, Patty Bats, I love it. Camilo Duvall coming out with his new entrance. The way that the whole entire stadium turns orangey red and the spotlight goes on to him and the song hits. I love it. I think it's absolutely unbelievable, and I'm here for it because I loved when the Mets had the closer coming out.
George walk out. Would you want to walk out to that, George?
That's my question. Yeah. What would it look like for you? I'm now imagining like Chicago Bulls entrance style for George Kontos. What's the song? What's the color of the lights? Yeah.
Now pitching. George Kontos.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, that brings back memories. That opening Bull song, the '90s, just came right back to me. But I think it's very cool that they're finding new ways to engage the fans. Right? I mean, the best walk out in baseball, in my opinion, is Edwin Diaz, the guy sitting in the bullpen right now with the trumpets. And outside of like Heath Bell or obviously Mariano Rivera. I mean, I would walk out to something Metallica, maybe Master of Puppets or Harvester of Sorrow. But I'll tell you what, every time Camilo walks out these last 2 times and they play his song, I feel like I'm right in Fast and Furious where they're in Cuba smoking cigars. Like it's right out of the movie. And I was looking at Romo yesterday. I was like, this is right out of Fast and Furious. This is like nice, chill beach music.
How was it working with Romo? Did you ever anticipate Romo ever being on a screen after his playing career?
Oh man, you know what? It was great. Romo, if you've ever gotten a chance to talk to him, which I know you guys have, he's just got the biggest heart ever. He wants to do everything as meticulously as possible. He's very open with the way that he's going to express himself, and that's exactly kind of what another perspective that we need. A guy who's very close to the Giants family, who was very important to the success that we had in the last decade. I mean, the guy threw the last pitch of the 2012 World Series and was a big cog in both of the other ones. But to see him on TV and to get his feet wet and to really expand into this new role, I think he's going to have a very good time with it, and he's got a ton of insight, and he has a lot to offer to the fans.
No, you guys gel well yesterday. Laura Britt always doing a great job commanding the show, and of course you with your analysis, and Romo, I thought you guys were perfect yesterday. Chemistry is already booming. Just make sure you get producer David Taylor some crap, because the Lakers are down 0-2 in the series. He may not be locked in as much as you need him to be locked in.
You know what Tedlow said to me yesterday when I was grinding him a little bit about the Lakers? He goes, "I've seen 5 rings in my 6 rings in my lifetime," and I was like, "Yeah, so did I in 8 years."
Oh, so he's pulling that one. That's when you know you got nothing. That one. Well, I've seen 5 rings. You've already given up on the season. Come on, man, you can come back from 0-2. David, come on, George. Always good catching up with you. Good seeing you on the screen, man. I know times are tough, man. Being a new father, man, the lack of sleep, but you're doing a great job as always. There it is.
Thanks a lot, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Crank this. Timmy Trumpet.
It's so good.
This is the best.
All right, George.
Turn this up. All right, now you got to do what they do in New York. This is the best part, though, coming up.
I think we have to talk.
Well, yeah,
that error. Just got to, like, mumble some words.
Here we go. I swing it every day. Each and every way.
That is.
I don't know if they cuss in that song.
No, it's One Nation. I don't. He doesn't say under God. He says something under goons. I think he says. It's so good. But when it hits, dun, 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 dun,
You know what? We got some Giants fans who are jacked up right now.
let's go.
Nicholas in Sunnyvale.
Nicholas in
He's
Sunnyvale.
feeling Mike Yastrzemski right now. He wants to give him an extension.
Yay.
No, I'm kidding, Nicholas. I'm kidding. Welcome to the Morning Roast.
Yeah, I wanted to know about your predictions for the Giants. But first of all, it's pronounced Doval, not Duval.
All right. Why you flush him? No.
That was so
Why you
mean.
flush him?
That was
Come
so
on.
mean. That was Spadoni.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?
Oh, he hung
said
up.
Duval.
I didn't hang up. I just pressed
Who
the
said
button.
Duval? Who said
I didn't hang up
Duval?
on him.
Who
Did
said,
I say Duval?
I don't know. Who the hell said Duval?
I
didn't
make
bring
a
up
lot of
Duval.
mispronunciations.
All right.
Like that one.
Well, we got to be better. That's all. He was just correcting us. Why'd you flush him?
I left him on
man.
air. He could have hung on if he wanted to. I didn't.
No,
jump
you
the call.
flushed him.
I hit the button, but doesn't.
No,
mean
you
it's off the air.
flushed him. That was
Tuck roll.
wrong.
Tuck roll.
Nicholas in Sunnyvale. This is first time calling. Call back, man. Don't be so mean.
Prediction for the Giants.
Jeez, Fado.
I think they're going to hang around.
Oh, come on.
No, say it. No, you're going to say something about the Lakers right
No, I'm
there.
not gonna
Yes,
say
you
anything
were.
about the
No,
Lakers.
you were
I
about
was
to
gonna
say.
say,
You were about to say
no,
just because the Lakers are down 0-2.
No,
everyone knew it in here.
No, what I was going to say, just because you're going to end up with Michael Penix Jr., life is good.
Oh, we'll see.
A big
My
Raiders
favorite-
draft.
I'm
wasn't gonna go there
expecting
with
the Lakers to be down 0-3, and the Bo Nix is going to be the.
He swallowed the Lakers so hard.
Can we
there.
go like the show within the show? Bonte asks, or